All right, everyone's favorite weekend activity, cleaning the filters. First, of course, we have to turn the pump off. You can hit stop on your pump. If we kept it running and we tried to open the filter, there'd be water everywhere and you're going to be a mess. So always when you're working on the equipment, either hit stop on the pump or just hit your major or your main power kill, depending on how your electrician hooked it up. Next, we have to let the pressure out of the filter. So most of you have a newer filter than this one. They're virtually the same other than the color. All of us have this orange tab on the top. You flip it back, you can hear the noise. It's letting air into the system, taking the pressure off the canister before we open it. It wouldn't explode if the pressure was still in, but what happens is it suctions on the lid so that no matter how much you pull it, you'd never get it to come loose. Next, we need a 3/4 inch socket and a screwdriver to hold the other end so it doesn't spin. Loosen this bolt off. So this bolt is more expensive than you want it to be, and it's hard to get. So when you take it off, please screw the nut on. As you'll see, both ends of it are rounded, so it fits tight in this seal. And then what I always do is just set it on the heater or on your salt cell or somewhere where it's out of the way that you're not going to lose it. So I'm going to set it up on top of my salt computer because that's what I'm used to doing, and habit with this sort of thing is very helpful. Next, we have to take this clamp off. I just use my screwdriver and pry it. This one's been on a while. Take it off. Now, because we have opened the orange tab already and let all the pressure in, this lid usually just pops off. So now we're opening up our filters. Okay, the lid's off the canister. Now we can start to take our filters out. This cap here, it sometimes pops off and you'll find it floating in the water. Just clean the bugs and little debris off of it. Put it right back on the straw. Now you'll notice this side has 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you look at your filters. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the white pipe is 5. See that? They line up. So you cannot really mess this up. If you were to put it on backwards, like this, our pipes aren't connected anymore and the pool just isn't going to operate. So 5 spots, it's on great. We'll keep that off now. And you'll see our filters. They simply just pop out and they're sitting inside on a little holder. So if you set them in, let it go, they generally fall back into place on their own. So nothing to really stress about at this side. Now, I would like to take these over and hose them off. I'm going to take them with me and head over to a sunny spot. So I have the filter ready to hose off. All we need to do to clean it is get a simple garden wand and put it on jet. And inside, and I hope you have more water pressure than I do, you're just going to hose down, up and down in all these grooves. You'll see on my Instagram stories that I remind people constantly to be cleaning your filters. Dirty filters are the cause of a lot of issues with pools. Your heater not operating properly, your salt cell not operating properly, and really just keeping your pool clean. So take your time, clean these out well. If you're going to go to all this effort to open up the canister and put it back together, don't skimp on hosing off the filters. Another word of caution, if you take your filters out, leave them in the sun, and say you forgot you had an appointment or you have to drop the kids off somewhere. If the filters dry dirty, they are ruined. You can use different sort of cleaning chemicals to try to bring them back to life, but the hassle is not worth it. So if you go to the effort to open up your canister to clean your filters, please follow through and clean them while they're still wet. So we're back here at the canister. Unfortunately, these old filters on our display pool here in Newcastle have pretty much run their life. If you've cleaned your filters, they're going to look very white. These have had a good run, but it's time for them to go in the garbage. Now, I want to show you quickly how to empty the water from inside your canister to get any debris that's still inside cleaned out. So I'm going to take all the rest of the filters out. And at the back of your filter, or maybe the side, depending on how it was plumbed, you'll find a black plug. I use my screwdriver to like a leverage to unscrew it, and I'm gonna let all the dirty water out. And you'll see in the canister all the water's running out. But while that's happening, it's a good time to look. This is the bottom plate that your filters were sitting in underwater. So you see again, it has the 4 spots. You can see that it fits right on. So you can pull that out of the way. And this will drain, and in the bottom, you'll be able to see how much debris is down here. Okay, the water's drained. I'm going to use my hose again. This pipe will actually just slide out of the way, and you can see at the back there, that's the exit for the water. So I just use my hose, push all this dirt out the back. Sometimes takes a minute. After construction, there will be a lot in here, but the filters work pretty hard, and the cartridge filters do a very good job. Great. Okay, we have the canister all cleaned out. I'm going to put the plug back in so the canister holds water again. Screw it in its location. Get it nice and tight because it'll drip if it has sand in it. And now we can first put the holder for the filters back on. It slides over top of the white pipe. Let it go. Then the filters go back in. The filters actually do say bottom on the side that goes down, so can't mess that up. Again, we're putting these gross old filters in. If this is what your filters look like after you've cleaned them, it's time for a replacement. So then we have our cap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back on. Sitting nice and snug, everything's together. Now before I put the lid back on, you need to notice this rubber gasket. If this rubber gasket has any sand in here, when you go to screw the clamp back in with your bolt, it will drip and drive you crazy. So make sure it's very clean. Give this a rinse. Put it back on. Now we're ready to put our lid back on. The lid can face whatever direction you want. I try to point this away from where I'm standing or away from the electrical. I put the lid back in place. It kind of sits snug on its own. I like to give it a little twist. Next is the clamp again. Clamp can really only go on one way. And now I remember where I put my bolt in my usual spot on top of the salt computer. Hand tighten it. All right, so I got a hand tight. Now I'm going to switch back to my 3/4 inch socket and screwdriver. You will notice that while I'm tightening this all down, the orange tab is open again. We want to let the pressure that's in it come out now so we get a tighter seal. So tab closed, open it for this process. And what I like to do is bang the clamp on a little bit so that we're tightening all sides of the filter, not just the front. Now we tighten it down. I usually tighten it so there's about a finger gap here. One thing with plastic pool unions and lids like this, over tightening will cause leaks as much as under tightening. So this does take a little bit of getting used to where your system will drip when you put the lid on. The first couple times you go to do this, leave yourself extra time so that you do it properly. Don't get frustrated when we turn it back on if you have a drip. In that case, you hit stop on the pump again, take the lid off, clean that rubber gasket, start again. Just take your time. If you have a leak, tightening this more doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stop leaking. It's usually caused by debris in the gasket. So hose it off, start again. But I think we're good. We still have our tab open because we need to turn the pool back on. So at this stage, I'm going to hit the resume button. There's always a slight delay. Now that my pool's going to prime for a minute, I am still leaving this tab open because I'm letting all that air that's in the canister out the tab. So water's coming in. As soon as water shoots out of this opening, I close the orange tab. The pool operates like normal. Water shoots, close the orange tab, and that's it. I recommend you clean your filters often. Spring and fall need a lot more cleaning than, of course, midsummer. Things to watch out for: if your heater isn't operating properly and says LO on it, clean your filters. If your pool is regularly dirty after you vacuum, clean your filters. Anytime you have a problem, start by cleaning your filters. I hope you enjoyed this. You may have to watch it a few times before you get it. Lots of practice. Please clean your filters. Thank you.